Yeah.
Just keep going. We can cut it, right?
Yeah, you can just start it.
We'll just play it. We'll
All
just
right.
keep it.
In today's edition of Psychology, we're going to talk about many different aspects. I, your host, Cody Crowley, I'm going to start out with speaking about sexual motivation. All right? Good. We'll start with sexual orientation part. People tend to view heterosexuality and homosexuality as an all or none distinction, but it is more accurate to view them as endpoints on a continuum. Environmental explanations of sexual orientation have not been supported by research.
I think you just broke the camera.
Biological explanations have appeared better in recent years as twin studies have shown that genetic factors influence sexual orientation. Females' sexual orientation appears to be characterized by more plasticity than that of males. Now we will talk about evolutionary analysis. According to parental investment theory, the sex that makes the smaller investment of offspring will compete for mating opportunities with the sex that makes the larger investment, which will be more discriminating in selecting partners. Human males are required to invest little in offspring, so their reproductive potential is maximized by mating with as many partners as possible. Human females have to invest months to years in carrying and nourishing offspring, so they maximize their reproductive potential by mating with males who are able to invest more time in the offspring. Our next portion is the human sexual response. Masters and Johnson showed the sexual response cycle consists of 4 stages. The 4 stages include excitement, plateau, orgasm, and resolution. Women are more likely to multi-orgasm than men are. Now, gender differences in sexuality activity. Males think and initiate sex more often than women do. Males are more willing to engage in casual sex and have more partners than females.
Booyah.
Take Derek, for example. He's had many mates in his life. Alright, gender differences. Alright, males, like their women, have their women to have youth and attractiveness, while females prefer intelligence and financial support. That's all for my part today, thanks.
Gotta get the applause. My name is Jake Engel, and I will be continuing our show on psychology. My segment will be motivation of hunger. So, first I'll talk about biological factors regulating hunger. Research originally suggested that the lateral and ventromedial areas of the hypothalamus were the brain's on and off switches for hunger. And today, scientists think that the neural circuits passing through the arcuate and paraventricular areas of the hypothalamus play a larger role in the regulation of hunger. Thank you, Levi Esters.
There's Levi.
The motivation of hunger. First, the biological factors regulating hunger. Research originally suggested that the lateral and ventromedial areas of the hypothalamus were the brain's on and off switches for hunger, but the dual centers model proved too simple. Today, scientists think that the neural circuits passing through the arcuate and paraventricular areas of the hypothalamus play a larger role in the regulation of hunger. Fluctuations in blood glucose monitored by glucostats also influence hunger. Now for environmental factors regulating hunger. Incentive-oriented theorists emphasize that the palatability, quantity, and variety of available food are key factors influencing eating behavior.
Today,
Hunger can be triggered by food cues in the environment, such as odors. Humans show some innate taste preferences, but learning is much more influential. Classical conditioning and observational learning shape what people prefer to eat. Like me. I love Skittles. Now, I eat a lot. I'm a hungry guy. And same with Ben, because he's a fat ass. So, anyway, now, that will conclude our section on motivation of hunger. Thank you and have a nice day.
Alright. Hello, I'm Ben Dre. I'm doing the emotional aspects of psychology for the Brains project. Alright, there are 5 components to the emotions. Cognitive component mostly consists of subjective feelings that are often intense and difficult to control. Cognitive appraisals of events influence the emotions that people experience usually. The next is physiological component. The physiological component of emotion is dominated by autonomic arousal. A polygraph detects emotional arousal, which is a far from perfect index of lying. According to Joseph Dideau, the amygdala lies at the core of a complex set of neural circuits that process emotion. Emotions depend on activity in a constellation of interacting brain centers. The behavioral component will be demonstrated by my esteemed colleagues, Jake Engel and Cody Fronte.
Jake.
Take it away, boys.
Jake, you gotta talk about something.
Yeah?
I don't think this is working out for you.
What?
I think you have a problem.
What do you think?
Jake, you and everyone else around you knows you eat way too much. Just try to cut back.
I can't.
Jake.
I get so hungry. Jake, I'm here for you. Alright, thank you, boys. Thanks for that. Thanks for that terrific performance. Alright. Now I'll cover the last 2 components of emotion. Cultural considerations. Ekman and Friesen have found cross-cultural agreement in the identification of emotions based on facial expressions. Cross-cultural similarities have also been found in the cognitive and physiological components of emotion. However, there are cultural disparities in how emotions are categorized and in public displays of emotions. Like, for instance, these 2 guys over here.
Oh, one-hander!
Yeah, there.
Jake, learn how to catch a ball. That's a one-hander. Oh, learn how to catch. You did.
Yeah, that's enough of that. You can see what I'm talking about. And the last one is theoretical views. The James Lange theory asserted that the conscious experience of emotions result from one perceptions of the autonomic arousal. Cool beans, I thought. The Cannon-Bard theory asserted that emotions originate in subcortical areas of the brain. According to the 2-factor theory, people infer emotion from autonomical arousal and then label it in accordance with their cognitive explanation for the arousal. Evolutionary theories of emotion assert that emotions are innate reactions that do not depend on cognitive processes. And that is all I have to say about emotions.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the psychoanalytic theory. And Freud is talking about 3 different principles in the personality. And he's talking about the id, the ego, and the super-ego. And what he's trying to do is to give you a way to analyze your personality and to
Analyze?
Analyze, exactly. And to analyze the way we behave. And the id that he's talking about at first is the primitive instinctive component of a personality, and that operates according to the pleasure. And the pleasure principle, it demands immediate gratification of the urges. And it means, like, if you're hungry, you get food with them, and you get warmth. And this stage is always, or it's often dominant in the oral stage that he's talking about. When you're a child, you always get food when you need it, otherwise you will cry. And later you go to develop the ego, and it's kind of the decision-making component of personality, and it operates according to the reality principle. And the reality principle is like you seek to delay gratification of an urge because you know that it's not the right time to do it. So like if you're hungry, you wait until you have the possibility to get food. And then you have the super ego at last. It's like the moral component, and you incorporate social norms and standards about what's right and wrong. So you set up some norms for yourself and some rules so you know how to behave in social situations. And then both the id and the super ego is a kind of the unconscious mentality where you don't know that you are controlled by the id and the super ego, whereas the ego is a kind of subconscious, so you know that your decisions. Then in the other life, if you are controlled primarily of the id, then you'll be very rude sometimes because you don't know how to behave in social situations, whereas if you are controlled by the super ego, you'll set up a lot of rules for yourself, so you kind of get controlled all the time. You control yourself in mind. So you have to find a balance between the id and the super ego. Okay, that's my